For more on Premier Lee's work report, I spoke to Lee Gan, economics professor from Texas A&M University, and also the director of the China Household Finance Survey. And I asked him whether the 7% growth target was a surprise to him.
It is not a surprise. Last year, the growth was 7.4%. It was pretty low, relatively speaking. My understanding is 7.4% last year was not a consequence of the government trying to adjust the local economic structure, trying to encourage consumption. It is actually a very concerted and much of effort of local government, the central government, to try very hard to reach the 7.4%. So my surprise actually is 7% is they still want to keep a 7% growth rate. I think that
a lot of people have said in the past that 7% was a very key number, that if it dropped below 7%, that would be a real problem for China and the policy makers there. And I guess, do you agree that 7% is a real key point?
I don't agree. Maybe 5-10 years ago, 7% or 8% was a key point. The key point, they're trying to say the big problem is basically it's looking at employment or unemployment rate. Because of the labor, because of the population structure, because of the aging of the population, China no longer has the problem of the too much of the people entering the workforce. It is more or less like a labor shortage. So this new norm, trying to maintain a healthy unemployment rate, should not require a 7%. I think the number should be much lower than 7%.
Do you have a number in mind that you would say that is important?
I would strongly suggest that the government no longer use the GDP as a target, no longer set a target of a GDP growth rate. If they really want to set a target, they probably it's better to set a target of unemployment rate, such as 4% or 5% unemployment rate.
In the work report, there was a couple things that were mentioned. It was obviously there's some pro-business measures, or I should say reforms, that have been discussed, encouraging more startups, giving sort of investors more access, not just to capital, but also to foreign capital as well. The SMEs, another big part of it, sort of that whole thing of privatizing or semi-privatizing a lot of the state-owned enterprises. All these different things. You've done a lot of research on it. Which parts do you think will be most effective?
The problem of Chinese, for the SMEs, for other business, it is not China does not have money. China has plenty of credits, plenty of savings, plenty of credits available. The problem is actually that the channel is not clear. We don't have a very effective way of loaning money to the business, particularly small business. That problem cannot be resolved in a short period of time. Government, if they want to do something, they should make the channel basically to set up nationally, to have some kind of a credit system, some risk system to analyze individual business.
Yeah. Very quickly, I want to get two more quick points. One, domestic consumption, some discussion about how that's actually improved a bit. I just wanted to ask you, where's that coming from, the demand side on the domestic consumption?
The problem, at least from household consumption rate, consumption is a percentage of the income, those are not getting better. The data, National Bureau of Statistics data and my data also shows that the consumption rate, if it's keep this roughly the same over the last few years, or slightly lower.
But why? Why is it not getting better?
Some people argue that it is because of the uncertainty. So people try to save the money for the future, for potentially they could be sick, or etc. So those not the key reason, because social safety network has been improving substantially in China over the last many years. So my view of this is actually has a lot to do with income inequality. The data clearly show, even we have roughly 30% of the money are saved, averagely saved for Chinese households. It is not every household saves 30%. Most of the savings occur for the rich families. The poor families that don't have money to save, they actually want to consume, they don't have the money to consume. So income inequality becomes the critical reason for the insufficient consumption